Guten Tag and welcome back to FTRL. It is Monday, which means it is the start of a new week of FTRL action. As ever, we start Monday with F1, and it is our top division in the F1, also called F1. Round 8 is coming to you from the Hockenheimring in Germany. And joining me on comms tonight, as ever, is Mr. FTRL Blue Flag. Good evening, Si.
Guten Abend.
And wie bist du?
Sehr gut, sehr gut. No, right, back to English. Come on.
That's about the extent of my German. I think we've
done the German banter.
Yeah,
right.
we've probably insulted somebody there. Yeah, that's fine.
We're very good.
Indeed. So strong grid so far. 15 plus 1 to join us a little bit later on. So we should have 16 with us tonight. So the Hockenheimring in Germany. Obviously they butchered a little bit from the classic circuits, which I was a big fan of the old circuit, the old Hockenheim, if I'm honest. But despite butchering,
I'm a bit of a stickler for the old traditional circuit.
Yeah, but this track does often give really good racing, so we can't begrudge it too much, I suppose.
I was going to say the F1 races in real life the last 2 or 3 seasons have been pretty tasty, and we normally get a similar result in league racing, so yeah, not a bad layout, it must be said.
Indeed. So this time last week we were talking about how one man was dominating the league and the title was only going one way, and then Singapore happened, and now we're talking about how the F1 division is blown wide open again. Obviously T1000 Zach, having won 5 of the first 6, then had an absolute nightmare, spinning on the opening lap, breaking his wing off and having to fight back from the back, which has let Dutch Tricks close the gap quite considerably.
Yeah, it was almost one of those, anything that could have gone wrong in the opening couple of laps did go wrong for Zach. Dutch didn't quite manage to fully capitalise on it, but he still made a decent dent in the deficit he had.
So he's been a man he's had a lot of second and third places, I want to say. He's on 6 second places and 1/3 this season so far, which it's not a bad record, although I think the frustration of not being able to beat Zach has probably been growing.
For a man that's become sort of accustomed to standing on the top step in FTRL, it's going to be eating away at him inside, I think. I think some of that frustration has shown in recent weeks. But yeah, I'm sure it will come. I'm sure it's only a matter of time before that win comes along for him.
Indeed. So we're seeing a bit of a mix of tyres already. Got the stats up so far. Brand's just at set the first lap time on the hard tyre. We've got drivers out on soft and mediums here, so we're seeing a bit of a spread in terms of the compounds being used. Do you recall what the strategy is around here in terms of tyres?
Well, I do seem to recall that the soft tyre doesn't last a particularly long time round here. I think you're only normally going to get about 4 laps out of it, maybe 5 at a push. So anyone that does choose to start on the soft tyre, if we have a completely dry race, then I think they're fully committing to a 2-stop.
Well, 3 guys currently showing as having the soft fitted, but they're all still in the pit lane, so they may change their mind before they come out. While we've been talking, IRL Neon, formerly Neon Rapid, has taken over at the top in the McLaren. He's on the mediums, just watching his teammate Deneen come around the final couple of corners as Zach pops himself onto pole position. Deneen must have been validated there as he came out the final couple of corners. Very easy to do in that stadium section. It's very tight still, very tight and twisty, that last section, the stadium section.
It's corner cuts, they're very easy to do at turn 1 as well, which I think Dutch might have done on his first attempt. He's now going for a second lap.
See, I think Tico also there on 1 lap on his tyres, so he's been validated. And yeah, F3 as Joe Burns popped himself up into P3, T Smith into P4, and Pagani into P6.
Dutch is backed out of this lap as well. The big wobble coming down towards the stadium.
Joe Burrow's up at P3 at the moment. We've seen some brilliant drives from Joe from the back of the grid. What might he do if he starts at the sharp end?
One can only wonder.
Maybe tonight is the night we'll find out. As Tico, fresh off the back of his first win last week, has now popped himself up onto pole position. Chicken Guy coming out of the final corner on his first flying lap. He goes round again because he's invalidated. We've got on laps. We've got Ross on lap into Toro Rosso. Coming into this stadium section there from the Mercedes-Benz stand, casting that huge shadow over the complex section. In the background now, one of the racing points is having a big bobble coming out of the hairpin. Takes the final corner, and Ross goes up to. No, he hasn't validated as well. So yeah, seeing a lot of lap invalidations already. Like you say, the first corners are particularly tricky when you've really got to attack it and carry the speed, but it's very easy to just run over the curbs and invalidate your lap times. So I think we're seeing a number of that so far. Deneen's got a lap in now and gone P2. So
the trouble is, turn 1 is very much a double-edged sword, because if you get too much of the inside curb, while you may not cut it, it can cause you to, it can bounce you out wide, and if you run too wide at the exit of turn 1, that will ping you. So it is quite a tricky one to get right. So I do expect to see a few penalties picked up there.
There's a very interesting comment in the chat from FTRL Danny. Heavy rain for most of the race.
So if that's the case, I would be expecting to see everybody in a moment going out on the soft tyre.
As you say that, a lot of red has appeared on the left hand side of the screen. So the people going on the hard tyres might not. I think a lot of people have seen that. So I'm not expecting to see the hards anymore. Also just done a second lap and gone into P8. Dutch currently sat down in P10. He has got a lap in, but 1:17.3, so some 5.5 seconds off the pace. But I'm expecting him to be out again shortly. In fact, he is out and he is on the soft tyre.
I think Neon's going to be one of our first guys to set the time on the soft.
Let's pick up Leon. Here he comes.
Comes to the line.
And then 11.4 pops him on pole position by half a second. Let's go back and pick up anybody on a flying lap on the softs. We've got F3, he's on a flying lap.
Got an exercise man, he's also on one by the look of it. He's into the stadium.
So into the hairpin comes F3, that's probably the prime overtaking opportunity on this circuit. Going down through the parabolic curve. Now into this new smaller stadium section, just a lock of the brake there into the first part of it, but he holds it all together. Looks smooth there as he heads into the old stadium section. Into the Sachs curve, of course, the corner which saw Sebastian Vettel go off in 2017. No, it was 2018, sorry, wasn't it? He went off there. Oh, very wide there through the penultimate corner, and that'll be an validation.
The drag strip then.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that in actual F1 racing. A lot of cars crashing there and getting on that drag strip and finding no grip and ending up in the wall, including Charles Leclerc, Nico Hülkenberg, and Lewis Hamilton as well. All found that wall in the race. Interesting, F3 did actually get that lap time in at 1:12.4, which is interesting. I thought he went very wide, but no, he did get the lap time in. Just ahead of him next is Iceman, also putting a 1:12.3 on his soft tyres, and now you can see now cars flooding out onto the softer compounds. gets out of the way of Delaney, who's coming through.
Tico just coming into the stadium on a lap.
Let's pick up Tico. He is currently 8/10 of a second as Dutch Tricks lowers the bar. It's a 1 minute 10.9, so the first sub 1:11 lap we've seen. Tico on target to go into a 1:11.1, I think, based on his split time in the middle sector. But no, he's made up more time in the final sector there, or 1:10.8. Lowering the bar even further, which sets the standard, and Tico raises the bar. Zach now on and out lap. He's currently down in P5. I think he'll want to get up to the sharp end and avoid some of the chaos that's caught him out last week. Of course, we had a very mixed weather in the qualifying last week, which obviously saw Bran and Pagani snatch the front row with a last-minute dive out onto the slick tyres after a wet qualifying. But you'd expect with dry conditions the natural pecking order to be resumed. Let's pick up Zach and see where he is. He's just coming out of the final corner to start his flying lap. Aggressive through the first corner there, plenty of curb. This right hander, which then you wash out wide, carry the speed, and flick through the left until this long drag down to the hairpin. Up to 199, 200 miles an hour, which tops out at 202 before hard on the brakes and down to just 38 miles an hour there as he comes around the hairpin. Coming into the first of the stadium sections, looking nice and tidy so far. He's comes to the end of sector 2, and where is he in terms of lap time? He is 7.5 tenths up at the moment. We need to find some time in this final sector to trouble the front row. We pulled him up to P3. Does he have some time in this final sector? Runs out onto the curb, but looking tidy. 1:11 flat, but in P3, but he is behind his title rival still. So it is the pressure now just starting to creep up on Zach a little bit. We've seen him so confident so far the first half of the season, definitely. Obviously 5 wins from 6. He made it look almost easy to begin with, but now Dutch and Antica are now just starting to just chip away a little bit at that lead he had. On board with Bran, who's coming down to the hairpin. In fact, I think he's just finished the lap. He's got one up on his tyres. And let's go pick up his teammate. He's on his flying lap. In fact, he's just finished, and he goes ahead of the sister car up into P7. Chicken guy who's on the flying lap. Oh, he's bailed out and he's in the pits.
Looks like everyone's doing the final tyre change.
And that's right, so let's see who we've got in the chat. We've got Goy Carp supporting everybody, because Goy's the legend like that. Obviously he'll be secretly cheering on Andy, or maybe not so secretly cheering on Andy. The Sol Renault with us tonight. And FTRL Junkie Sports back from his month-long jaunt to South Africa. Happy to be watching an F1 race at 8 o'clock for once. Welcome back, Carl. And Pagani claiming that he's so slow. As always. Andy's lap time puts him at the P4, so the Renault man has got ahead of the two McLarens. as out onto track for their final runs. We've got Tico, we've got Dutch, we've got both McLarens, IRL Neon and LR Denis. Joe Burns and T Smith also on their way. A few more cars just starting to trundle out of pit lane now. Pagani on his way, as is Chicken Guy, so both has on their way. Zach's still sat in the pits at the moment, but I expect him to be on his way shortly. They come on board with IRL Neon. McLaren, what can he do? Oh, just coming across the Williams, and next is Iceman coming out of the pits there. We haven't lost too much time. It's a long run down towards the hairpin. DRS shuts.
The top two have just started their laps. Dutch first, Tico second.
Pit lane up, still waiting for Zach to exit pit lane. In fact, he just leaves pit lane now, so he's cutting very fine. Probably got enough time though. The track is getting busy. Neon now coming at the end of sector 2. He's 44 thousandths up on his current time, which would not quite be enough to see him retake P4. So can he find anything in this final sector? There's the penultimate corner and the final corner, nice line, looking smooth. And he does improve, but does not improve his position.
Well, Dutch bailed out of his lap at the end of the straight down towards the hairpin, and Tico got a massive slipstream off of him. So Tico may be about to strongly benefit from that as he comes to the end of his lap.
The final corner, a little bit wide for the penultimate corner, but he does indeed go 0.3 faster. Lowers the bar. Now can Zach respond? Zach now just coming to start his final flying lap. And maybe Joe Burns pops himself up into P8.
Dutch is going to get a final lap at this.
Oh, Zach there having to take avoiding action of the Red Bull. Tico just got out of the way there, but he just seemed to just pop over the curb. In fact, he's backed out of it. So yeah, Zach's run compromised there, and he's backed out of it. Oh!
Oh, he's...
Who was that?
So, Zach moving out of the way of Dutch coming through, and he's moved into the path of Joe.
Oh dear, that has not gone well. Joe picked up a penalty for that as well, so we may have to rectify that. Oh dear, that's got messy. I'll pick up Dutch, because left the session. There's a bit of drama then in qualifying.
Yeah, that could result in drama for next week as well.
Indeed. We shall see. Here comes Dutch then to the end of his lap. Oh, he's very wide there through the penultimate corner. Was that an invalidation? And the survey says it was not. Marginally improves his time, 16 thousandths of a second.
Well, with Zach not being able to improve, Coandy's currently P3 on the grid.
Coandy has popped himself into third. And looks like just Ross to come across the line.
But Danny as well.
In fact, Ross has bailed out of his lap. Danny is also just gone across the line and finishes
Danny was
P7.
unable to improve.
So there we have it. Oh, that's the game. Danny's car's now running into the back of one of the hazards. And it's just smashed over his front wing. Thank you, Codemasters, once again for that. So the grid then for the... Oh, as you can see, 2 penalties there. So, yes, Tico takes pole position in Germany ahead of fellow Dutchman Dutch Tricks in the Mercedes in P2. Co-Andy starting 3rd. Zach has picked up a penalty for that collision with Joe, so he will not be starting P4. He's coming 4th on the grid. IRL Neon is P5 ahead of his teammate LR Deneen. The McLaren's sharing row 3 with racing points on row 4 with FTRL Danny ahead of Brand Glover. And at the 10th, Nexus Iceman and Ross. What have we got left? No time at all. We'll go through that again in a second. So there's the grid. Let's get your podium predictions in while we wait for the race to commence. And while we do wait for the guys in the chats, I'll die as we gaze upon a very, very wet Hockenheim.
Yeah, we do indeed. A top 3 in these sort of conditions is going to be a fun one to pick. I think I'm going to go for Dutch to win. I think Tico in 2nd, and I think Bran normally goes quite well in this sort of conditions, so I think Bran's going to sneak himself a P3.
Interesting. I don't really know much how everybody's wet pace is, to be honest. I'm trying to think back to the last wet race we had. I'm going to join you on a Dutch win. I think Co-Andy's going to steal 2nd. And I'm going to go for... Danny for a P3, because I know he likes wet conditions as well. So 1 each for the Pink Panthers. And then let's run down the grid. Everybody on the wet tyres. So on pole position is Tico, fresh off the back of his first win of season 11. He is alongside Dutch Tricks, 3-time and reigning champion in the Mercedes. He'll be looking to close, and if not close, overhaul current title rival Zach, who's starting lower down. Co-Andy starting P3. Great effort from him in qualifying. Ahead of the 2 McLarens, IRL Neon is P4, showing row 2. With Andy, and LR Deneen goes off row 3. FTRL Danny, his best qualifying of the season, in P6, with his teammate Bran just behind him in P7. Nexus Iceman in the Sol Williams is P8, ahead of the penalised Zach, who appears to have had a moment on his outlap as well. He's coming around at the back, so Zach is on the back foot already. He's down in P9. Ross is in P10 in the Sol Toro Rosso. The second Ferrari goes off P11, that's F3. He's ahead of the 2 Haas, the chicken guy who's currently on the grass coming out of the Sachs curve, and Pagani with T. Smith, and Joe Burns bringing up the rear after picking up that penalty with that collision with Zach in qualifying. So we've got a jumbled grid and wet conditions. What is this going to bring us in terms of race action? Zom in the chat there, sporting, and the weight of all the bananas are on your shoulders. We'll ignore the lights because they're going to go green wall before. And we are away. Very slippery there. Good start from Danny. He's got ahead of one of the McLarens. He's going to do them both into turn 1. Tika holds the lead but runs wide. Andy closing up. Oh, two at the back. Oh, crash. Big crash.
We've lost Deneen and Bran in that.
Yeah, saw them getting together on the exit of 1. We've got a virtual safety car already. Carnage in the first couple of corners. So unfortunately, Deneen and Bran together. So after all of that then, Tico held onto the lead ahead of Dutch and Co-Andy, the top 3 as you were. Big mover is FTRL Danny up into P4, jumped the McLaren jumped both McLarens off the grid. And we are racing again. And Zach on the attack of his teammates. F3 already up to P7. He's up 4. T Smith up to 9th. He's up 5. So, very wide down the background, boss. That's FTRL Danny's up to P3. Taking Andy coming into the stadium section, and now IRL Neon on the attack as well. Andy under attack, and there's a big slide there from Andy. Danny looking at home in his conditions. He does like the wet conditions, and he's already making big moves. So the grid now just settling down a little bit. So it looks as if everybody else got away without any damage from that crash on the first lap. Nobody's pitted.
Nice wide again at turn 2. It's allowed Joe to get round the outside of him at 3.
In the background, F3 on the attack of Nexus Iceman. Down the inside into the hairpin. Iceman cuts back underneath him though. Zach drifting around the hairpin behind them. F3 has got it done on the traction. So F3 liking these conditions so far. He's up 5 places. Joint biggest mover with T Smith. And FTRL Danny is closing down on Dutch Tricks and Tico. Very wide there though.
Oh,
big wobble there. Big wobble there. He's still got Co-Andy and IRL Neon right behind him though, so those 3 in a little pack together. They've got a bit of a gap back to F3. Iceman now has and Zach all over his rear wing. Oh, Andy very wide out the final corner that time. No DRS now, which is going to make it a little bit harder to overtake down into the hairpin. F3 showing it can be done. But Tico meanwhile has got himself a 1.5 second lead on lap 3. In these conditions. Close enough to so watching Zach at the moment, he's not close enough to Iceman. This lap, although Iceman's very wide. Zach trying to get the inside. Zach's he's up on the curb. I think that's going to slow his exit, so Zach has got the overtake done. So easy to make a mistake in these conditions.
An overtake materialising out of nothing, it would seem there.
Two Hazes battling in the background over the final point. Pagani just demoting Chicken Guy. Up into the points. Pagani up 3 already. Joe behind them. In lap 4, T Smith there was very tight to the inside, coming out the final corner. Did he have a wobble then, perhaps? Missed out on that one, but still gathered it all up. So now the Ferrari starting to close up on this battle pack for P3. Give me a silly shot of the rear wing, that's real helpful, thank you. Tico just inching away now, getting up to 1.9 seconds. So he's liking these conditions so far. Could he be about to...
T Smith's gone up the inside of Iceman at the hairpin.
Chicken Guy up the inside of Pagani behind them. Just caught that in the background. Danny a little bit wide now, but we've got an FTRL train going on. Danny, Co-Andy, IRL Neon, F3 and Zach just trying to get back onto the back of this train. It's all going on its so far. So after that initial first lap drama, everything's settled down a little bit now. Guys getting into a rhythm. Tico is out 2.5 seconds. He had an absolute stellar lap. And he having a bit of a move out of the final corner, just having to come to the inside there. And the car just Zach there with the fastest lap, so he's now got himself settled down. And he's going to start closing on this group. Danny just starting to inch away from Andy. So Andy now heading this train. He's got IRL Neon behind him now. He's got the two Ferraris starting to loom up in his mirror. IRL Neon on the attack now. They're to the inside as they run down to the hairpin. Not close enough this time, and he holds him at bay. Oh, F3 coming in hot. Behind them, no damage done. But Neon looking very racy at this stage.
He's got chicken guy back at the hairpin.
So the Hazard trading that final point. Joe Burns keeping a watching brief on all of them. So we're very close together.
Andy's dipped wheel in the gravel coming into the stadium. So they'll have Neon a look around the outside of the Sachs curve, but if we do well, we get around there in these conditions.
Very nice to get around there in these conditions as well. Now, having had that lead up to 2.5 seconds, it's down to 1.6. So has Tika had a bad lap, or has Dutch just had a very good lap? Pick up the battle for fourth place again. Just over a second ahead of these three at the moment.
McLaren went in a bit deep on the brakes there. It's just allowed Andy to pull away a bit. It's put F3 within range.
Yeah, he's made one move down to the hairpin. Climbing up another. He pulls to the inside. And that will be an easy overtake there. Can Neon fight on around the outside? F3 runs him out of road. He now goes for a switchback. He's got good drive. Yeah, got the inside again. Got a lot of contact in there, but it may have just been the game. And these two battling has put Zach right onto F3's tail. So now he's going to be defending and attacking. It's Pagani and Chicken Guy again swap places. And now Joe Burns has got past.
Joe Burns has snuck in.
So, these three squabbling over that final point. Meanwhile up front, oh, Pagani very wide there as they come into the stadium section. Did what Andy did a lap ago, just dipped a tyre into the gravel.
Tico's pulled a second this lap over Dutch, just under.
So he's got his head down again.
Ferrari's are side by side going down to turn 1. F3 sensibly eases out the throttle, allows Zach to go. Zach's coming back at him.
Zach up into P6, he ended up last week. Oh, he's had a bit of a drift there though, and F3's going to have a run here. And we're going to see team orders at Ferrari, or is F3. Zach is defending the inside. So if F3 wants to make this move, he's going to have to go around the long way, and he does it on the brakes, locks the front tyre. That keeps it tight. F3's going to run around the outside though and have the momentum, and he retakes the position. Great move there from F3. Great battling with by the Ferraris. We saw a lot of that last season when it was Tico and Zach and Ferrari. They're being treated to another Scarlet battle over P6 and 7. Now, while Tico's got his foot down and pulled away again, Danny is just starting to close back up on Dutch a little bit. Dutch has had a better stadium section, so it's back up to a second. We're down to 6/10 as they came through the middle of the lap. So Danny really relishing these conditions. Again, a bit of a queue forming behind Co-Andy. IRL Neon closing up again, and the Ferraris. Oh, Zach was nearly to the back of his teammate then. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. Flag in sector 3. We have another yellow flag in sector 3. Here, that would be Ross. Yes, he's lost a lot of time. I think he's had a spin at the penultimate corner. Oh, and drift through turn 1 as well. Oh, joining Pagani, who's gone very deep at the hairpin. And that has allowed both Chicken Guy and Joe Burns through. Lost a bit of time there to them as well. And he continued to hold off this train. IRL Neon very close to the back of him here though as they come through the stadium section. I think he's got the pace. Can he get the move done though? Good line there through the final corner. Probably not close enough into turn 1. And T. Smith has now joined this train as well. He's on the tail of Zach. Zach now under attack as well. Nexus Iceman also not too far off, so we're going to have an extra carriage on the train in a second.
So T. Smith's quietly got about his business and got himself on the back of this.
He got 6 places. I think he was one of the main benefactors from that accident at the start. Picked his way through the carnage.
So I've seen him post a couple of fastest lap times. Been up in 9 laps.
Danny's had a wobble somewhere because he has dropped from just over a second back from Dutch Tricks to now 2.2. He had a wobble, but with Andy fighting a rearguard action, he's still over 2.5 seconds back. He's very wide there, coming out of that little stadium section as well.
We've got Ross off on the exit of turn 1.
And again, Andy. Oh, Andy's off onto the grass. Comes back on the outside, but that's dropped him all the way from 4th down to 9th. We saw him dip a tyre a couple of laps ago. This time just gets on the painted surface. There's no grip out there.
Looks like he's kept the car intact by the look of it.
Yeah, good save, but that's cost him 5 positions. And does that release IRL Neon and the Ferraris? Can he do anything about the gap to Dan? He's gone to 3.3 seconds. Just inching that lead up now. It's nearly 3 seconds. So enjoying the track, enjoying the conditions. Showing the pace we know he has. Oh, here comes F3.
F3's gone for it.
The inside, can IRL Neon switch back on him? He can. Does he have the traction?
He's done it once already. He's going to do it again.
We're going to go side by side. F3's going to keep it in there.
Kept it in there this time, yep.
Trying to go around the outside though. IRL Neon, this is a great battle
this
here.
Isn't done.
And he takes the plate. No, F3's still there.
No.
Oh, he's had a wobble, and I think F3 has got him. He has indeed. Great battle though between those two there, and F3 now up to 4. He's up 7. Zach there out onto that curb.
Right out on the Astro.
Oh, there, Neon touches F3. There's wing damage there, I think, for the McLaren.
Yeah, he's lost the plate.
Just got in there a little bit too hot. Is he going to bail out? No, in these conditions you can probably fight it. Oh, Pagani's gone.
Pagani.
Oh no, where's Pagani gone? Sector 3, possibly into the stadium section. Got Ross coming out of the pits, so I'll pick up. Zach now looking racy. Oh, did he just touch the back there of IRL Neon? Yeah, they definitely blocked his run, and now T. Smith looking for a way.
Yeah, Zach's had to go defensive.
Parks on the apex, stops T. Smith getting a run. F3 having a big wobble as he gets on the power. despite the wing damage, Iron Neon is still with him and still looking for a way back through. Zach behind these two. T-Smith behind him. Iceman not far off the back of him either. And Karandi not a million miles away, although he's now... And that's Ross behind him, so we'll attack there. Right. Yeah, it looks like Pagani's gone off at the same place we saw Andy have his moment. Yeah, he just jumped ahead of Pagani as he comes through as he drifts around the penultimate corner. All the way around to the final corner into the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton comes back onto the track there, but Ross is not enjoying these conditions. Meanwhile...
That's up the inside of Neon.
Gets it done out of turn 3. And goes in for the slipstream there, so I fancy trying to get this back into the hairpin. Zach stays defensive on the inside, so Neil will have to go around the long way. But we've seen it done. On the brakes, can he cut back? No. Just tries to turn back underneath him. Zach's car is there. And T. Smith wants a bit of this as well. He's wide in that first part of the stadium section there, but Zach making steady progress. He's now up 4 places. Oh, now Zach had a huge wobble there coming out of the stadium. Gathered it up. Neon under attack. T. Smith down the inside into the Sachs curve, and he gets it done. Neon tries to cut back underneath. But no way through. That wing damage now starting to hurt him a little bit. He's showing really good pace behind. Oh, Danny's picked up a penalty, no. A few too many run wide at turn 1 by the look of it there from Danny. He's got 5 seconds over F3 at the moment. Settled that sector 1 yellow flag. I'm going to guess that's possibly Ross. So, Tico in the Red Bull continues to lead. Into the stadium section he comes. 3.3 seconds his advantage as we approach half distance. As tidy as you can do in these conditions. We're now inching that up towards 4 seconds. Touch Tricks in a comfortable P2 on the left, or Danny keeping him honest. Oh, Neon into the pits, so he has bailed out that wing damage. Get himself some fresh tyres, get a fresh wing on and see if he can undercut the guys. We're going to run a little bit longer. You'd imagine with it being a wet race, a one stopper at half distance would make the most sense. So a couple of extra laps on fresh tyres now might bring him back into contention with that pack, battling from 4th down to 9th. So Danny is definitely closing on Dutch again. Danny having his strongest race since he rejoined us. Currently down to under a second now, so Danny has got the magnets on the back of that. Ross has retired now, unfortunately. I don't think he was enjoying these conditions. Danny definitely is enjoying the conditions now. Half a second behind Dutch. He's taken over a second out of him this lap. And now the lead for Tico has gone up to 4.5 seconds. Are we going to see Dutch pit? Yes, he is. He's coming in. So The Dutch pits at the end of lap 14. His tyres have dried enough, down very wide there, had a big wobble as he entered turn 1. Already picked up one penalty. Needs to be careful, he doesn't want to pick up another.
Dutch has rejoined P8 with a nice 5.5 second pocket of clean air in front of him.
Zach about to make a move on his teammate into the hairpin, I think. Down the inside. Just a tight F3 runs around the outside. We've seen him do this once already. Zach appears to have got better traction, and Zach up into P3. Finally clears his teammate. What can he do now? He's got 6.2 seconds to Danny. Minimising the damage being done from his incident fueled qualifying. Oh, it's a big wobble on that painted surface again though. Into the stadium section, just a little wobble this time. As race leader pits. P2 pits as well, so Danny in. Zach is carrying on. His teammate pits. Lucky that I think F3 would have to watch what his teammate was doing if he did fancy going in this lap. Zach, having been released, sets the fastest lap of the race. So Zach has got the speed, now he's got some clear track. What can he do about bringing himself into contention for a podium? T. Smith also staying out, as is Andy. And Tico has rejoined just behind Andy, as Dutch did. Tico into the slipstream of Andy, down towards the hairpin. With fresh tyres, it should be easy work. Andy tries to switch back, but Tico's got too much grip. And he stayed with him. Danny has come back out, 4.2 seconds behind Dutch. So their battle over net P2 will continue. As race leader Zach pitting. T. Smith carrying on. T. Smith, one of those drivers, is very easy on his tyres and makes him last for any longer. Dutch sets the fastest lap of the race. And is Zach going to come out? He's going to flip and he's going to get ahead of Joe. He's on the way around turn 1. Just clears Joe Burns and stays ahead of his teammates. He's out into P6.
It's net P4.
Indeed it is. So he's still got Andy and T. Smith to pit. He's now got 7.7 seconds to FTRL Danny, who is right on the tail of Dutch Tricks. Danny on for a strong result. He does have
a fantastic outlap.
He does have that penalty though, which is a bit of a wobble there though.
On the braking.
Something a bit wide. Smith leading 2.5 seconds over Tico, who has pitted. We have a yellow flag in sector 3. Who or what is that? Oh, it's IRL Neon who's gone off, coming out of the first part of the stadium. He's just about gathered it up through the Sachs curve. Having shown strong pace early on, just struggling a bit now. Has he picked up any damage? carries on, so I would suggest not.
Dutch has got a run at Coandy. He's going to have to go around the outside of the hairpin.
And he doesn't fight it too hard on those 17 lap old tyres.
So Andy being one of those guys that's normally quite kind to his tyres, and maybe able to go a bit longer and have a fresher set of boots for the end.
Neon has retired while we were talking, so he was struggling a bit. I think he crashed at turn 1. So we are down to just points paying positions now. In what order are they going to finish? T. Smith continuing to lead. He pits now at the end of lap 17. Which will release Tico back into lead. Dutch has a huge wobble coming out of the final corner. Still manages to set the fastest lap though. Despite that. Coandy is carrying on, so he's doing 18 laps on his set of tyres. While Zach has just set the fastest. Now T. Smith is coming out on the intermediates. That's interesting. Is that an accident, or is it drying? Because it doesn't look like it's drying up.
So it still looks like it's raining quite heavily. I'm going to go on board with T. Smith and see how he gets on. It's going to be a voyage of discovery for him this out lap. He's got a good run at Joe Burns.
Danny just clears Coandy into the hairpin to retake third position. He does need to watch out from behind because Zach is setting fastest laps with a 3-second penalty. And Danny needs to keep an advantage over Zach. Looking okay so far for T. Smith.
The next lap will be the tell. He does seem to be catching F3's Ferrari at a rate.
Tico's had the fastest lap so far, 26.6. We'll keep an eye on T. Smith as he comes round next time. Okay, Andy's picked up a warning. Joe Burns pits from P8. Another one of the guys on the old wet tyres. Is Andy perhaps going to try and run to the...
Yeah,
Joe Burns are going to the intermediates as well.
The way T. Smith's catching that Ferrari in front, I think inters are the right tyre.
Yeah,
Joe Burns has gone onto a set of inters.
Has Andy played a blinder by waiting? I'll say at the minute it's still very wet. But the drivers are obviously feeling confident enough now the intermediates are coming into it. That gap between T. Smith and F3 is coming down. So now we've got two drivers on the intermediates. Are we going to see Andy dive in this lap and join them? Oh, has a huge wobble coming into the stadium. He's on the grass again. Gathers it all up. Still treacherous out there. And that is letting Zach win. I think he has to... I think this is the lap he has to come in now, really. Yep, here he comes. So Andy is the last one to stop at the end of lap 20.
F3's coming in. Gonna get those wets off.
T. Smith up to P5 now.
Yep, and he sets fastest lap. That's 1.3 seconds quicker than anything that the wet runners have done.
Next is Iceman in as well. So yeah, they're coming for the intermediate tyres. We've got 13 laps to go. What can T. Smith and Coandy, who's come out in P6, do about the cars ahead of them? Is Danny continuing to chase Dutch tricks? He's got within half a second again. Yeah, rapid. One thing, his car had no grip in the wet conditions. Danny looking very racy behind Dutch at the moment.
Race leaders coming in.
Tico pits, Dutch pits, Danny pits. Top three are in. Danny taking the shortest possible route, and going over the grass. Dutch pits, Danny pits, Zach pits from P4, and all this elevates T. Smith into the race lead. Has he played this perfectly? Tico comes out. He is 4 seconds behind with 12 laps to go. And he comes out ahead of Zach into P5. Chicken Guy now the only man left on wet tyres. Is he going to carry on? Or is he going to bail out as well? Everybody else onto the inters. See there, sun poking through on that view there. There's blue sky, so it would suggest it is starting to ease up. And it looks still very wet from where we are. But now T. Smith, with a late pit stop, has found himself in the lead of this race. Three disposals of Chicken Guy out there from the intermediates are now the time to be on. But everybody just needs to get to the finish. There's points on offer to everybody who's left. What can Tico do about T. Smith? The gap has held. It's started about 4.2. It's only 4 seconds now, so he's chipped a couple of tenths away. That's Chicken Guy.
On that
Also
last
pits.
set of tyres, it just seemed as though Danny had a bit of an edge over Dutch. I wonder if you can give Dutch something to think about in the last 10 or so laps.
Indeed. Just over a second. Obviously, we know Danny does have a 3-second penalty though, so he needs to clear Dutch and then pull away. Just looking at the inside left tyre there in that braking zone. Behind these two, Andy has got a Ferrari, or a pair of Ferraris closing him down. Zach within 1.5 seconds. F3 2.5 behind. Again, Andy there using that strategy, running long. That's propelled him back into contention for a strong result. Yeah, Tico now just starting to eat away into that lead. Dutch and then Danny set the fastest laps of the race. So 3rd and 4th place are pushing on. Tico took half a second out of T. Smith on that lap. T. Smith starting to eke it back up again as they come out of the first part of the lap. T. Smith's not going to give this up without a fight. Currently on target for his first victory in F1. Still got 10 laps to go. Under these conditions, nothing is settled, that's for sure. Behind them, the battle of the Mercedes Powers cars. Dutch Tricks now a second ahead of Danny. He continues to keep him honest. So that view there, just as they come into the stadium section, Dutch just hanging quite far over to the left. There's that wall that sticks out and it just worries me slightly. Andy has now got Zach within a second. So that Ferrari closing in. both the current title leaders, the top two. One under attack, one on the attack. Tico now got the lead down to 2.7 seconds. So he is hunting down T. Smith, just chipping away now. Still 9 laps to go. He's got to catch him first, and then he's got to find a way past. So no DRS in these conditions. Andy having to defend as well. Just keeping Zach at bay for the moment. Just over a second the lead between those two. Next is Iceman also closing back up on Joe Burns for P8. There's 3 little battles going on at the moment. Let's drop back and have a look at Joe and Iceman. Stannis is another fastest lap there, 23.8. The lap times are falling, so Danny now within half a second, or just over half a second of Dutch. He's really enjoying these conditions. Zach also closer than he has been to Andy. Let's head down the back straight. Close enough for a slipstream. Is he close enough for a move into the parabolica? Not this time. And he's right on the back of the Renault. Just a lap difference in their tyres. So not much in terms of grip difference. Zach is going to have to find a way through on merit. He's taking tighter lines than Andy. Looking a little bit neater at this stage. Let's come into the stadium section again. And they're keeping well away from that curve this time. And the Sachs curve, Andy's a bit wide on exit, but no real way through for Zach here. Can he line up into turn 1? And will he wait for the long straight down to the hairpin again? A feint to the inside, but not close enough this time. Oh, Danny's picked up another penalty now. That's going to be key. That's now 6 seconds. And well, he currently has 7 seconds over Andy. And Zach looking very racy. In fact, Zach's already alongside as they go onto the back straight. He's at the inside, and he's got the overtake done. Andy looking to fight back. Zach goes defensive. So they have to go around the long way. Parks on the apex, no way to cut back for Andy, and Zach gets the overtake done. So Zach up into P5. It's 8 seconds off the back of Danny. He now has 6 seconds of penalty. So Danny could do with clearing Dutch and pushing on. Meanwhile, Tico continues to close on race leader T. Smith. It's now down to just over a second. Let's start lap 28. 6 laps to go. Tico is hunting down the race leader 4 seconds. When Tico pitted 6 laps to go, it's now 0.8 of a second. Has almost all of his battery as well. Not that we can use it as effectively in these conditions. He is right on the back of T. Smith now, so just back up to a second to come out of the hairpin.
A bit further down, Joe Burns is coming under pressure from Iceman.
Getting a run down the back straight, probably not close enough this time, as he can pressure Joe into a mistake. So both Mercedes under attacks from their fellow Mercedes powered cars.
One we're all keeping an eye on at the head of the field.
F3 has found himself in a bit of a lonely gap at the moment. He's got 7 seconds behind him, 4 seconds in front. But so far Zach's not really able to close down on Danny. That gap is still 8 seconds. So Zach not thriving in these conditions. As Dutch just set the...
Big moment for Tico.
Oh no, Danny's lagged out. No, come on Danny, get back in quick. That's not what he needed. Still in with a real shout of a podium finish. Tico is now right on the back of T. Smith. Around the Sachs curve, a Red Bull man looking for a way through now. Dutch Tricks is also starting to close up. Oh, very wide there. Tico needs to get through because he's going to start becoming under pressure from behind. As Zach has overtaken Danny's ghost car. And he's back in the lobby, so he should be back in his car momentarily. There he is. Back in again, but he's down to P5. And he's got Co-Andy right behind him. Tico now lining up, he's got full battery. Goes into its overtake mode. T. Smith going defensive early on. Down to the hairpin. Joe Burns picks up a penalty now, having just been dispossessed of 8 possession by Iceman. We have a 3-way battle for the lead now. Tico needs to find a way through. T. Smith, can he hang on for 4 laps? He's going to be coming under some big pressure now. Dutch arriving on the back of these two could really help him out, because if Tico has to start defending, then he can't be attacking quite so vigorously. Tico taking tighter lines. T. Smith very wide there at the final corner. Got pinged in a warning. T. Smith, Tico carries so much more speed through turn 1 there. Again, shapes to the inside, but not quite close enough. Danny, just to prove a point, sets the fastest lap of the race. And got back into his car. Can he hunt down Zach for P4? Is Tico close enough this time? Moves to the inside. But again, I think he's just too far back. T. Smith holding him at bay. Let's go a little bit deep though. Tico looks to get up the inside. Not quite. And Dutch now right with them.
Oh, Tico,
that was close. Sharp intake of breath. The back Joe Burns and Iceman battle continues to rage on, but we'll continue to watch the lead 3. Now just 0.6 per second covering all 3 of them. Dutch goes in hot this time.
Now, what's been key for T. Smith the last 2 laps is he's had a good run out of turn 2, turn 3 onto the back straight.
That's what he needs to keep doing. He needs to keep it at about half a second, 0.6, and you're probably just about safe. Three to go. Danny with another fastest lap. And just proving a point.
Now for Danny.
What might have been for Danny the game hadn't kicked him out. Again there, like you say, T-Smith's got a good run down the back straight on the defensive. Tico moving around behind him but not close enough. T-Smith doesn't, you see, he's almost parking it on the apex out the hairpin, just trying to back Tico up. So he can't get a good run. You can see the gap he's pulled out there, and now Dutch is on the attack. And now Tico has to go to the defensive. Oh, Dutch, don't stick your nose in there.
Dutch had such a good run out of that corner.
Shake to the inside. Now this is letting T-Smith get away. The lead's up to almost a second.
Yeah, this is exactly what T-Smith needed, these two to start scrapping amongst themselves.
Come around to start the penultimate lap. T-Smith doing everything he can. 2 laps to go. From the back, Danny onto the tail of Zach, and he's within 0.6 of a second. New fastest lap again from Danny, 22.4. Here we go again, 0.6 of a second is the gap for T-Smith. That's probably enough. Dutch close enough to have a go at Tico though. Moves to the inside, just moving around though. Bit of a slide there from T-Smith. Tico had a little one as well though. As Danny overtakes Zach into, go around the outside of the hairpin. Zach back up the inside. And side by side as they come into the stadium section though. Danny's going to hang on around the outside. We'll now have the inside for the next turn, and he retakes P4 on the road. Zach fights back around the outside. Bit of wheel-to-wheel action there. Oh, Zach very wide. He's back on again. Danny gets the overtake done. Well, we know he's got penalties. Oh, he's run wide there onto the painted section, and Zach got back in front as they come into the Sachs curve. Squabbling for those two.
To the final lap we go.
T-Smith continuing to hold them at bay. One more lap. He's had a... Oh, no. No, he's managed to... No, he's pulled away again. Coming in hot there into 2. Can T-Smith get a run again? He needs a good exit.
Oh, bit squirrely on the acceleration for Tico. I think that's going to...
That could be that. Tico dropped back. Dutch is now looking racy again. Tico having to go a little bit defensive. Oh, Dutch is in hot. And T-Smith has held them off. There's probably only 2 more realistic chances, barring a mistake. This is one of them. It's not close enough. So it's into the Sachs curve. It's probably the last big opportunity. But he's not close enough. T-Smith is away.
From there, he's not going to do it.
Dutch now.
Just got to keep it on the island.
Actually, the Sachs curve okay. He's got 2 corners to navigate. Keep it in the white lines. Don't get any penalties. And T-Smith wins his first F1 race. Tico P2 and Dutch is P3. What a fantastic, well, brilliant performance from T-Smith. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was a brilliant strategic call to hang it out to put the Inter on, and yeah, he just held it all together in the closing stages.
So behind the top 3, Zach comes home P4. Danny P5 on the road, but so far got 2 P7 with penalties. Next is Iceman comes home P8 ahead of Joe Burns, and Chicken Guy is your final point scorer. So there we have it, a first time winner in our F1 tier, T-Smith. Congratulations to him, sharing the podium with Tico and Dutch Tricks, our front row starters. So we'll get the podium guys in shortly. Who are we going to have for the additional driver today who stood out? I think I'm inclined to say Danny, to be honest. He might be slightly angry what happened, but that was probably by far his best performance of the season.
I was going to say, I can't really argue with it. He drove his heart out today.
The more he got.
What happened, he deserved better than that.
He did indeed. So we'll get those guys in shortly. Here are the results. And T. Smith, from 14th on the grid, wins the German Grand Prix. Reminiscent of a certain Mr. Hamilton, wasn't it? In similar conditions a couple of years ago. Tico is P2 from pole position, winner last time out, and Dutch Tricks rounds off the podium. Subdued Zach comes home in P4. Good recovery though from starting P9, with Coandy in P5, F3, P6, Danny P7, Iceman, Joe Burns and Chicken Guy rounds out our finishers and point scorers. So we will await our podium finishers.
T. Smith. What a win.
What a win indeed. Well, hopefully Tom has got his microphone sorted. There he is. We'll just wait for Danny to join us and then we will commence the interviews. In fact, no, we'll get started while we wait for Danny to join. So, firstly, congratulations, gentlemen, on the podium finishes. We're coming to you first, Tom. Congratulations.
Cheers.
You played an absolutely strategy blinder today. Really extended that first stint. I'm assuming you always planned to run long and switch to the inters?
No, I was in a bit of traffic. And I was with me, the two Ferraris were in a little scrap, and I was going to pit early, but the one Ferrari jumped in and then had a bit of clear track, so I thought, I'll hang out for a bit, and then all the water drives started to clear. So it was 50-50.
50-50, I'll say. You qualified P14. There was obviously the accident on the first lap, which kind of helped you. You picked up probably more places than anybody in that, and then yeah, so I'm going to talk us through that after you stopped, because you were sort of 4 seconds ahead once Tico pitted, and then he was just chipping away, and then obviously the last sort of 4 or 5 laps you've just been fighting him off. Sort of how difficult was it to sort of maintain the lead with that pressure coming from behind?
Yeah, that was so quick. Well, I just saved absolutely battery, fuel, everything, and then stuck it in overtaking Rich on the one straight and then turned it back down.
Yeah, well, the strategy paid off absolutely dividends. So, yeah, first win in F1. Yeah, how does it feel?
Good. Better than the F2 one.
So yeah, we've got some probably some aliens in this division. So to beat them on pace and is definitely something to be very proud of. Looking ahead to next week, then it's China for round 9. How do you feel about China?
Yeah, okay. I like the faster tracks rather than the slower ones, so it's a general rule. It's better than some.
Will you be praying for wet weather again?
Yeah, wet weather and everyone to crash in front of me.
Sounds good. Well, fingers crossed we get to talk to you again this season, and congratulations on your first F1 win.
Cheers, guys.
On to Tico, rounding off the night in P2. Started off rather well, pole position, first one of the season. Got a bit of a helping hand on your final flying lap, didn't you, off of your good friend Dutch Tricks? I saw that cheeky little time you got.
Yeah, but still 5/10. Yeah, still pretty good.
That's what you get with the slipstreams.
Yeah, no, I gained like 1.5 tenths, so I still would have been pole, so pretty happy with it.
Yeah, you got a good start in the race itself. It looked pretty plain sailing to begin with. Opening stint, you opened up about a 3-second lead over Dutch before the first round of pit stops. You came in and shoved a set of fresh wets on. Was that always the plan, or did it just not look like it was going to dry out?
Yeah, it was very weird because my tires overheated the whole race on the wets. It was like 85, 88, 84, and when it's 87 degrees, they are red. So it was very difficult in the last sector to steer in, and yeah, but the engineer didn't say anything about light rain, so I thought, yeah, just another wet tire. And then after one lap, he said light rain is coming in 10 minutes. So, well, yeah, I saw T. Smith pitting, and he did it a lap 1.5 seconds faster. I thought, what? So I pressed start and looked at his tires, and I saw intermediate. Yeah, so yeah, and then yeah, he was like 5 seconds ahead of me after the second pit stop. Yeah, I gained it back, but it's so difficult to overtake in the wets, so it wasn't possible.
I was going to say, you managed to reel him in once you got the inters on, but I noticed it. He was getting such a good run through turn 2, turn 3 onto that back straight that you just couldn't get close enough to him.
Yeah, maybe he's using assists, I don't know, but it was very difficult to get good traction out of turn 4, turn 3. Yeah, he gained like 2/10 again, and I couldn't dive him. I didn't want to ruin his race.
No. Given the conditions, I think P2's still a very solid result. On the back of a race win last week as well. Not a bad little run of form you're hitting. Can you continue it next week in China?
No. I can't. China, I hate it. I never did well there, so I don't think it will be possible, but yeah, always fun to race.
Yeah, well, we look forward to watching it. Well done tonight, and best of luck for next week.
Thank you.
And our final podium finish tonight is our reigning champion Dutch Tricks. So yeah, well, third place again. So
Yes.
it looked as if Tico probably had the pace in the first stints. The gap ebbed and flowed a little bit, and then in that second stint you were closing him down. Yeah, just want to talk us through your race from your point of view.
Yes, it was a pretty good start, and after the first 4 corners, the tires were already overheated, so yeah, it was undrivable, these wets, because it was probably better to go to the inters, even start on them, I think, because yeah, the tires were overheating every lap, and they were stick on 82 for almost every lap, so yeah, that happened the whole race, and when I got on the inters, I finally got a pace, so that was good, but yeah, couldn't overtake Tico or T. Smith, so.
I'll say your title rival had a bit of a mixed bag again this week, so that's more points back in the title hunt.
Only 3 points. So.
Only a couple of points, but it's obviously it's looking a lot better for taking the fight to him than it was probably 2 races ago. I mean, how are you feeling in the wet conditions? I mean, are you usually somebody who does well in wet conditions? Do you not like wet conditions?
Yeah, normally I do, but today it was different because it said full wets for the whole race, and yeah, but yeah, the tires overheated at the start, so intermediates were better. So I think everyone actually was on the wrong tire for most part of the race. So.
Yeah. Well, still another podium there. So your podium run continues this season.
Yeah, I think I'm on 19 now.
It's not a bad run. It's not a bad run at all. Is it?
But he doesn't have a win yet.
He doesn't have championship red, so.
Oh, shots fired. Looking ahead to next week, then we're heading to China for the last race before the Christmas break. How do you feel about China? Is that a circuit you enjoy? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think it's possible to win once again, but yeah, I'm gonna say that every week from now on. So. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I need to get the win and the podium to maintain, to close the gap to Zach actually.
Indeed. Well, fingers crossed for a strong result next week for you.
Yes.
So unfortunately, it doesn't look like Danny can join us as his internet has gone. So that is unfortunately the end of the coverage today. But as always, do not leave us because there's plenty more coming from FTRL this week. Tomorrow and Wednesday, of course, we've got F2 and F3 both from Hockenheim. Then the guys in performance have to tackle F1's Crown Jewel event, the Streets of Monaco. So be sure to tune in for that. And then on Friday we wrap up Season 5 of the GT Championship with the final 2 rounds coming from Suzuka and St. Croix. But for this evening, thank you again for everybody for joining us, and congratulations again to our podium finishers and T. Smith for his first win. That is all from us tonight, so hopefully we will see you again soon. But for now, see ya.